Following a phone call on Monday, May 19, with U.S. President Donald Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Moscow is open to working with Ukraine on a memorandum that could serve as the foundation for a future peace agreement. Putin described current diplomatic efforts as moving in a positive direction and suggested that meaningful progress toward resolving the conflict is possible. Putin thanked Trump for supporting the recent resumption of direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. These talks, held in Turkey last week, marked the first time the two nations had met face-to-face since March 2022, a significant development amid a long and bloody war. According to Putin, Trump acknowledged Russia's expressed desire for peace, but also recognized that the critical challenge lies in identifying the necessary steps to achieve that goal. "We have agreed with the President of the United States that Russia is prepared to engage with the Ukrainian side on drafting a memorandum," Putin said during a press conference in Sochi, a coastal city along the Black Sea. This document would outline key elements of a possible peace deal, including the principles for resolving the conflict, the structure of a settlement, and a timeline for implementing such an agreement. As part of these discussions, Putin said that both countries would need to work out the terms of a ceasefire, including how long it would last and under what conditions it would be enforced. However, Ukraine, along with its European allies and the US, has repeatedly called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire lasting at least 30 days, something Russia has so far resisted. Putin said that the renewed direct dialogue between Moscow and Kyiv is a positive signal, suggesting the situation may be shifting. "On the whole, Russia's position is transparent," he said. "What matters most to us is addressing the underlying causes of this conflict. Once we do that, we can begin to identify the most practical and effective ways to achieve lasting peace." Despite Putin's remarks, skepticism remains high among European leaders. Many in the West suspect that the Russian leader is not genuinely interested in a fair peace. Instead, they fear that Trump and Putin could collaborate to pressure Ukraine into accepting a deal that would compromise its sovereignty and territorial integrity, potentially locking in the loss of significant territory and offering little in terms of long-term security guarantees against future Russian aggression. Leaders in the US, Western Europe, and Ukraine, particularly under former US President Joe Biden, have consistently framed Russia's 2022 invasion as a clear-cut case of imperial expansion. They argue that Putin is attempting to reassert control over Ukraine through force, in violation of international law, and have pledged to continue supporting Ukraine's defense. They also warn that if Russia is allowed to succeed, it could eventually pose a broader threat to Europe and even NATO, a claim the Kremlin denies. Moscow maintains that its military actions are defensive in nature and claims that Western powers, through NATO's post-Soviet expansion, have long sought to weaken and isolate Russia. Putin, for his part, continues to characterize the war in Ukraine as a defining moment in Russia's relationship with the West. He accuses Western nations of humiliating Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, particularly by pushing NATO's borders closer to Russia and interfering in what he considers Moscow's historical sphere of influence, including Ukraine.
We're just hearing about it. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. President Putin and I have been discussing various things, and I think it's going very well. We've had some very, very good talks. We're going to have a talk now, and obviously that will continue. But we look forward to a lot of very positive things happening for Russia, for the United States, and for everybody concerned. And it's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Here we go.
Thank you.
Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, sit back. Sit back.
Думаю, это хорошее начало.
that, the world awaits, and I look forward to our personal discussion, which I think begins now, and then we're going to meet our whole team. You have quite a few representatives on I do, and we all have a lot of questions, and hopefully we'll come up with answers, most importantly. It's great to be with you.
U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he will speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday, May 19, in a call aimed at exploring potential solutions to end the war in Ukraine. This diplomatic outreach comes shortly after Russia and Ukraine held their first direct negotiations in over 3 years, a significant and rare development, in Istanbul, Turkey. The Istanbul meeting marked the first time Russian and Ukrainian officials sat down for face-to-face talks since early in the war, back in March 2022. The renewed dialogue has sparked cautious optimism among some international observers about the possibility of progress toward peace. While traveling through the Gulf region last week, President Trump reportedly offered to travel to Turkey himself to participate in the peace discussions, but only on the condition that President Putin would also attend in person. Trump's proposal signaled his desire to take a more active and high-profile role in mediating the conflict. However, Putin declined the offer, choosing not to appear at the talks or meet Trump on Turkish soil. In a post shared on his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump confirmed his scheduled call with Putin and indicated that the conversation would focus on potential pathways to ending the conflict. Although Trump did not provide many specifics about the agenda for the call, it's expected that he will discuss the outcome of the recent Russia-Ukraine talks in Turkey, gauge Putin's willingness to pursue a ceasefire, and possibly propose a framework for a longer-term peace deal. The call reflects Trump's ongoing interest in positioning himself as a dealmaker on the global stage, particularly in one of the world's most high-stakes and intractable conflicts. Whether the conversation yields tangible results remains to be seen, but it adds a new dimension to the shifting diplomatic landscape around the Ukraine war.
Hello, everybody. A lot of very positive things going to come out of the relationship. So, Vladimir, thank you very much. Thank you.
Всем большое спасибо, я приветствую всех, я приветствую также